Hi and good evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Buddham. Now the latest headlines from world channels and news agencies.
Tonight in Los Angeles, more strong winds on the way as wildfires continue to wreak havoc. The death toll rises to 16 people. Counter-terrorism police take over all investigations into anti-Semitic incidents at Sydney synagogues. Opposition leader Peter Dutton stresses the importance of family while making his pitch to become Australia's next Prime Minister. And marathon matches, rain delays and a stunning comeback on day one of the Australian Open. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Meredith Sheehan.
Tonight we are live in Los Angeles as the Palisades fire makes a devastating change in direction. Entire communities forced to suddenly evacuate. One of the most destructive fires in LA history now bearing down on new neighborhoods. Firefighters in an all-out battle to stop it. Thousands of residents forced to evacuate, including celebrities like Dennis Quaid.
We're fighting as hard as we can to save our city.
More homes destroyed, major landmarks at risk. This fire NATO flaring up. We're on the front lines with firefighters pushed to their limits. They're fighting the fires with swimming pool water? And those dangerous winds, they're set to whip back up again. Plus, growing outrage. LA's fire chief blasting city leaders, saying they failed them by not providing enough resources. The mayor responding today. Our team across the fire zone covering every angle. Also breaking tonight, the snow and ice storm crippling the south. Cars crashing on icy roads. Thousands of flights canceled or delayed. An NBA game postponed. When will it all thaw out? New tonight, Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, who had charged President Trump, resigning today. And back here in LA, the street food vendors doing so much more than just feeding this devastated community. How they've started a movement to help.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Tonight, breaking news from Southern California. More than 9 million people on alert for dangerous fire weather conditions. More evacuations as the flames reach new neighborhoods. Questions about the lack of resources to battle the fires and why so many homeowners lost their insurance. First, the devastating images just coming in. The Palisades fire engulfing even more homes. A fire NATO spinning out of control, spreading the flames. And the new evacuations, including part of the exclusive Los Angeles suburb of Brentwood. Firefighters dumping water and retardant, hoping to make as much progress as they can before the strong winds return tonight. A red flag warning now in effect through Wednesday. More than 12,000 structures already destroyed, the death toll rising and expected to go higher. A dusk to dawn curfew in effect amid growing concerns about looting. The ATF now taking the lead on the cause of the Palisades fire as investigators search for answers. While firefighters battle the flames, new questions about the city's readiness. The governor calling for an investigation. What caused fire crews to run low on water? The next steps for thousands that lost everything, navigating the complicated process of filing claims. And what about those who've recently lost their insurance as authorities warn about price gouging during the emergency? We have team coverage from the fire zone. In other news tonight, special counsel Jack Smith resigns days after submitting his final report. New video from the deadly New Year's terror attack in New Orleans. Officers in a shootout with a suspect on Bourbon Street. A major setback in the investigation of that deadly plane crash that killed 179 people in South Korea. The crucial data missing from both black boxes. The NFL hopeful wanted in connection to a deadly hit and run, what police are now saying. And America Strong tonight, the heroes of the California front lines, how communities are showing their pride and their gratitude.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News.
Tonight, raging on. Fire crews in the air and on the ground battle spreading flames in Los Angeles and the return of gusty winds.
I'm Maurice Dubois in the Mandeville Canyon neighborhood of L.A., where firefighters are battling to beat back these flames as they come dangerously close to these homes.
The largest fire growing, forcing new evacuations of people and animals.
I'm Lila Luciano at one of the many fire lines where crews from all across California and other states are working hard to save as many homes as possible.
At least 11 people dead, residents reeling.
Nothing prepares you for this amount of destruction.
Their neighborhoods now looking like a smoldering war zone.
We are hurting.
But the mayor facing a mounting firestorm of criticism.
I'm Tom Hanson in Pacific Palisades, where angry residents are demanding answers to what many believe was a failed response to this historic disaster.
Also tonight, special counsel Jack Smith resigns from the Justice Department.
I'm Willie James Inman at the White House. Smith is out while the future of his report detailing his investigation into President-elect Donald Trump hangs in the balance.
Plus, remembering Sam Moore. The legendary singer dead at the age of 89. And later, stepping into the breach and the aftermath of the wildfire disaster.
I'm Elise Preston in Arcadia, California, where the city of Angels is living up to its name as people help fire victims with basic necessities.
And I feel like I'm God's soldier, so this is what I should be doing.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening.
The Eaton fire is now estimated to be 14,117 acres.
We just were in a rush to get out.
Over 7,000 structures are damaged or destroyed.
We said we wish we grabbed, which no one thought this would happen.
And 2,832 firefighting personnel are assigned to the Eaton fire.
All of our children's artwork. This is it.
Elevated critical fire weather conditions are predicted to begin this evening and continue through Wednesday.
National Guard is there just making sure that people are staying out of the homes because of the danger and safety and the looters.
Our staffing has increased to approximately 500 personnel. We also have roving security to deal with looting and address those issues.
Historic wildfires in the Golden State have killed at least 11 people and 13 others are confirmed missing. A new flare-up in the Palisades fire has now led to mandatory evacuation orders as the fire switches direction, posing a new threat northeast towards Mandeville Canyon. That's threatening the Brentwood area. Fire weather watchers are in effect for Los Angeles and also Ventura counties from now until tomorrow morning as the Santa Ana winds are picking up right now. Crews battling at least 4 active wildfires in the Los Angeles area. 2 have now been contained. Residents are also dealing with criminals and looters.
A curfew order was established for the Palisades and Eaton fire areas in all mandatory evacuation zones that will be in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice. In total, we have made 22 arrests between the Eaton Palisades fire, 19 arrests in the Eaton area, and 3 in the Palisades area. Most of the arrests were made for burglary, looting, including trespassing, possession of narcotics, identity theft, and one suspect was on active parole and charged with the possession of a concealed firearm.
We're seeing disturbing images like this showing how brave residents confronted a homeless man with a flamethrower. Witnesses say they saw him setting fires to trees and garbage cans. This comes as authorities arrested another homeless man who say started a fire at a park last night. We've got team coverage on the ground in California tonight. Christina Coleman is in Altadena following the Eaton fire. But first, we go live to Matt Finn.
The Chancellor is in China, banging the drum for British business. Her critics reckon she should have skipped the trip. She's sticking to her plans, but with the economy on the slide, she's probably getting a warmer reception in Shanghai than she would in Sheffield or Southampton. Ministers are placing a bet on artificial intelligence triggering economic growth. Problem: nobody's yet created a computer that can lay bricks. The pound down, borrowing costs up, growth nil. It's quite a conundrum for the Treasury. So is the government's economic plan already toast? We'll talk markets, China and AI with the Science Secretary, Peter Kyle. The Shadow Chancellor claims Rachel Reeves is missing in action, but have the Tories still got an economic leg to stand on? Mel Stride will be in the studio. Business took the brunt of the budget's tax rises. The head of the British Chambers of Commerce, Siobhan Haviland, will assess how businesses are adjusting and what the return of Donald Trump could mean for the road ahead. And we'll open the 70s time capsule with Lord Owen, Foreign Secretary to the Labour government that ran to the IMF when the economy hit the rocks. Plus, with us throughout the show, The Spectator's political editor, Katie Balls, former Director of Policy to Jeremy Corbyn, Andrew Fisher, and Financial Times columnist Miranda Green.
Hello everyone, let's check the headline news this hour. South Korea's suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol will not attend the first hearing of his impeachment trial next week due to safety concerns. His lawyer says Mr. Yoon is willing to appear only once safety issues are resolved. Investigators are also preparing a new arrest attempt as the political crisis in the country deepens. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has accused California officials of, quote, incompetence over the handling of deadly wildfires raging around Los Angeles. Taking to social media, Trump called the disaster one of the worst catastrophes in the history of the country. Firefighters are racing to control massive blazes as winds intensify, with one fire now threatening previously untouched neighborhoods. The death toll currently stands at 16. Two diplomats from the Middle East and Europe are in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, to discuss the situation in Syria as world powers push for stability after the fall of Bashar al-Assad. The meeting comes as Syria's new administration has been urging the West to lift sanctions to assist the country in recovery efforts post-civil war. The EU's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas, says that the bloc's foreign ministers will meet in Brussels at the end of the month to discuss the possibility of lifting sanctions. And that is the latest from the CNA newsroom.
The Guinean government spokesperson announced that the presidential election might occur before the close of 2025. Initially, the junta had pledged to transfer power to the elected officials by the end of 2024 due to international pressure, but they have failed to fulfill that promise. Ousmane Gawal Diallo indicated that either the presidential or legislative election could be scheduled for October, following a referendum to establish a new constitution, which is expected to take place in May. But Siaka Barry, president of the MPDG party, who spoke to African News, has no confidence in the junta government. Now, when we ask whether we believe in the new promises of the junta, to believe or not to believe, it's all a matter of trust. His intention not to run.
The French government has handed over its detachment camp in the city of Abshir to Chad. The Chadian Minister of Defense, his delegation and French officials participated in the ceremony. For the French military, the result of many years of presence in northern Chad has been strengthened through strong ties, not only with the Chadians, but also with the local population. These ties are a living testament to the French unites our people. Departure of our troops, this friendship will last. Today, after so many years in Abshir, the situation is different. It strengthened its capabilities and is able to face the security and humanitarian challenges in Wade. The return of the camp to the Chadian military is a symbol of this. This withdrawal is not a farewell from France, but a see you later from its soldiers. The defense congratulates and still wants to everyone that the deadline for the departure of French troops remains January the 31st. We recall that the statements made by Emmanuel Macron prompted a response from the current president, Idriss Mohamed Deby, who clarified that the decision for the troops' departure came from Chad.
For
me, this is an opportunity to reiterate the government to
Hello, welcome to this brand new episode of Business Africa. I am Ronald Kato. Coming up on this week's edition, Africa's growth prospects for 2025 look bright, but constraints such as debt continue to loom large. African borrowers are projected nearly $100 billion in debt service this year. Plus boom in Africa, but slow down in China. What does Africa's surging cement market have to do with China? We give you the answer next. And the Suez Canal expands even as its revenues contract. Egypt says the expansion allows the canal to take more traffic and to better handle emergencies. Stay with us for the details. Thank you for joining us.
Rise of the Ultra-Right starts January 18th on DW.
You're watching DW News, coming to you live from Berlin. High winds are set to keep the LA wildfires burning for days. The biggest blazes are still causing widespread destruction, with authorities warning of a grave risk to life and property. Also ahead on the program, Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai addresses a high-profile conference on girls' education in Pakistan. She asks delegates to condemn the Afghan Taliban as perpetrators of gender apartheid.
Welcome back to Around the World. These are the headlines for you this Sunday. The death toll in the Los Angeles fires rises to 16 people as fire crews prepare for the return of strong winds that could push the flames towards previously untouched areas. The two biggest blazes, the Palisades and Eaton fires, are only 11% and 15% contained, respectively. Just over a month after Cyclone Chido devastated the archipelago, residents of the French overseas territory of Mayotte again on edge as a new cyclone touches down on the territory. Mayotte residents ordered to stay indoors and begin storing food and water. And Croatians head to the polls for the runoff presidential election, opposing incumbent Zoran Milanovic and conservative Dragan Primorac. Though the left-leaning incumbent fell short of the 50% threshold to avoid a second round, he is still expected to secure a comfortable win. But first, the death toll from the massive wildfires in Los Angeles rose to 16 on Sunday as fire crews continue battling to prevent the
On this Saturday night, returning home to ruins as wildfires rage in California.
And now to see it this way.
The towering flames nowhere near contained, and the Canadians in the crosshairs.
We're not out of this yet. Like, I'm still worried. Like, my suitcase is still packed.
Not running. Another prominent cabinet minister out of the Liberal leadership race as the incoming U.S. president ramps up the rhetoric on claiming Canada. Diagnosis dispute.
I believe that my psychologist is being unfairly targeted.
The doctor under the microscope and the patients pushing back. Plus, not for sale.
Extremely ridiculous.
It's a very special place.
The island nation insisting it's off the market.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Sarah McDonald.
Thank you for sparing your precious time. This is Amir Shakil. Have a good life. Bye-bye.